Hey guys, welcome into the CBD Exchange online channel. Today, episode 3, CBD and the banking system. We're gonna go around the table today, guys, and introduce ourselves. So why don't we start to our left?
My name is Chris Novick. I am president of Magnify Payments.
My name is Dan DeFazio. I'm Senior Vice President at Magnify Payments.
I'm Jordan Walgreen, Vice President of Business Development at Aurora Solutions.
All right, awesome. So what I'd like to do, guys, is just kick off a conversation, about CBD. Why don't we start by talking about CBD and the current state of the banking system in the CBD industry? Why don't we start with that first?
Yeah, it's certainly a challenging one, as you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Firsthand. Yeah, there's a couple of contributing factors to that. You've got banks that are historically, you're talking about publicly traded companies that encompass all 50 states. And even with the Farm Bill being signed, there's still a lot of ambiguity, some uncertainties out there from a regulatory standpoint. So they're slow to move on it. They're taking a kind of wait and see approach. And, right now it's a bit of a challenge. So right now you only have a couple of banks interested in doing, domestic banks interested in doing, credit card processing for CBD accounts. And, they're really only interested in large accounts. And then there's also a challenge on the banking side. Just getting a deposit account can be a challenge as well.
And is all of this chaos just because we're still linking CBD to cannabis? Is that what the deal is? Why is this so nuts with the banks?
I think a lot of the issues we're dealing with is that people just they really don't know the difference between cannabis and industrial hemp.
Right.
There's a lot of misconception that goes on with the industry. I can't tell you, even with my family members, when
right.
they ask me, like,
right. Yeah.
You're selling processing for cannabis? No.
Right.
It's, well, yes, I do, but
Not to wrong with that.
Right.
In legal states, it's fine. But there's not really, that's been an up and down situation as well when it comes to processing, just like CBD. It's been a pretty rough year this past year.
Right.
It has.
Across the whole vertical.
Well, and I would say to add to that a little bit, the Farm Bill passed, and all that did was kind of open the floodgates, and now we're in a situation where it's being regulated by the FDA. It's kind of falling into their purview, and they have not made a decision on it. So it becomes this who's doing what, who's on first scenario, and the regulatory body for the product is it's not classified as of yet. So I think that plays a big component in that aspect.
Yeah, that contributes to the uncertainty of the banking too, because they don't like the kind of lack of clarity there in terms of from a regulatory standpoint with the FDA and what they may or may not do.
Yep.
And then, as you mentioned, there's that still, whether it's real or not, the perceived linkage with marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And even though a majority of states now at least have medical marijuana, it's still across the board not as widely accepted as the arrow is pointing.
Right.
So.
Well, and what's crazy to me is the FDA it approves every day a lot of big pharma medicines that have absolutely catastrophic side effects. And yet it seems to me like nobody's talking about that. Then that's okay to do that. And it's because there's so much big money involved.
Hush money.
Right? and so if the CBD starts breaking into that industry, well, Big Pharma is going to lose out on that.
Yeah, I actually used to work in Big Pharma for quite a while. And, when you look at the therapeutic categories that CBD can affect, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue
Absolutely.
in the pharmaceutical industry. And you're talking about some very significant players from a lobbying standpoint. And, I don't know what would be best for the CBD industry, to be left kind of unregulated or to have some regulation come in. There's going to be good and bad in either one of those scenarios.
Right. Interesting. So one of the challenges that I've had as a new business, okay, so I back 4 months ago, I got together with you, Jordan, as I was putting together this company, right? And here I am 4 months later, still with no processing. And what I'm finding is because I'm a new business and I don't have any processing history, they're not going to green light me. Well, and then they'll turn around on the back end and they'll say, well, Ben, we've got an ACH solution for you. Yeah, well, no kidding, but that's why I'm calling you. I already have an ACH solution that I can't get payment history with. So how do you guys expect me to get history exactly as a new business owner?
It's kind of like when you graduate college and they want experience.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly.
You can't get a job.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm really struggling with that right now.
Yeah, and I will tell you, it's not just startups that are having difficulty right now. There are some very well-established businesses that are in the same boat you are. I mean, quite honestly, unless a business has documented processing of about $250,000 a month or more, in credit card revenue, it's a very, very tough market outside of something like
if you want a domestic solution.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just insane. I mean, again, we're just taught they're not free markets, right? So, I mean, I can't play in this market right now. I'm being told by the banks unless I'm running $200,000 a month in processing or whatever it may be. I find that crazy. It is. It's crazy.
It's a little sideways, and I would say that there's a couple of contributing factors. A bigger player got into the space and immediately had to withdraw. When that happens, that creates puddles, right, and ripples. So that's a bit, and there, it brought some unsavory situations and created some problems that way. So I think that's what's caused some trepidation, and you guys can speak to kind of some of the relationships with the banks. Again, you kind of combine all of those factors together, and they're going to go slow. You're talking about a regulated institution trying to do business in what is at the moment an unregulated world. And that's what kind of creates that. And you guys could probably speak a little more in depth around the bank relationships and how they make that decision. But it's all a risk-based model for these guys at this point. So
and let's speak to the high risk thing too, right? So I kind of get a kick out of that too. So I'm being told I'm a high risk business.
Right.
Why exactly is that, guys?
It's for the point we talked about before. They still are linking CBD and industrial hemp with cannabis.
Right.
And everybody is scared. They're not sure. Nobody wants to, take that big jump where we had the one processor who took the big jump and then retracted a few months later, which caused even more problems for the industry because you went from everybody who had all these offshore solutions that were paying a lot more to a domestic solution with an established processor. And then all of a sudden they pull out because they went about, in my opinion, they went about it the wrong way with jumping in. It turned into the wild west of payment processing.
Absolutely.
In the high risk world. Right. There was people out there selling what we would traditionally sell payment processing for 6.95 to 8.95% historically for years to people doing interchange plus 10 basis points and 10 cents. It's
just a coffee shop.
Yeah, just like your normal coffee shop. Now, don't get us wrong, we all believe that CBD should not be high risk.
It's a non-psychoactive component of cannabis, right? So nobody's getting high here.
Breaking that ceiling and thoughts around what CBD is and
what the benefits are.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to come. I mean, I don't know about we're from Pittsburgh, but even in Pittsburgh or anywhere I travel, there are CBD signs everywhere. Gas stations, convenience stores. We were at a party at a friend of ours a few weeks ago, and the topic of CBD came up at a local gas station. You see that? What's CBD? They don't even know people don't even know what it is.
Right.
Yet. But they're seeing it everywhere, and it's starting to like, hey, what is this?
That?
We're just scratching the surface when it comes to CBD and how popular it's really going to explode. And I really do believe what a lot of people are saying, that this is going to be the quote unquote green rush.
Absolutely. One of the other things that I struggle with on a daily basis is the fact that I can go right around the corner from my house and buy CBD on Walgreens shelf, but I can't sell it.
Right.
Explain that a little bit. Talk about that.
So there's a couple different things going on there. Number one, you talk about companies like Walgreens or GNC, companies that do big business, right? I mean,
right, and I get that.
Billions of dollar, companies. So they have clout with their processor. They can go and say, hey, this is what we want to do, right? They're not going to do like your little neighborhood convenience store vape shop that's going to just sneak it in on
right.
kiosk.
And I get that.
Counter, right?
I get that. Yeah.
And run the risk that they don't get caught and get shut down and it happens all the time. We've seen it happen. We've dealt with many of those.
Oh yeah.
Right. But so what they get permission, and there's going to be stipulations attached, right? You got to put it behind the counter, lock it, ask for ID, those types of things. They're going to do it in step. And overall, you think about a Walgreens or a GNC, CBD sales are going to represent a relatively small percentage of their total sales. So in that context, there's really nothing preventing their processor from giving them the thumbs up. But they're going to look at that business as well established and as profitable as it is. They're going to look at it different than an online startup, right? That's just white labeling some product that they bought from a wholesaler. Right? It's going to be viewed through a very different lens.
Right.
But again, that's not a free market system, right? It's picking and choosing who you want to do business with, right? I mean, in reality, if I don't do 100,000 in processing, I'm not getting processing. So I'm missing that, I don't get that.
Yeah, the only workaround to establish processing right now would be to go offshore.
Right.
However, there's a lot of risks involved with that.
Sure.
The rates are a lot higher, almost double.
Right.
You're not getting your deposits on a regular basis. They are a week to 2 weeks in arrears, sometimes 3. They're taking a 10% reserve. And,
Wow.
There's horror stories of offshore processors finding any reason to shut you off, hold the money they have, keep your reserve. We back when
and you have to keep processing to keep getting your funding too. So so when things do open up domestically, it can be very hard to get off of that carousel, so to speak.
You just really work yourself down because they have verbiage, and some of them are week to week, day to day. So if they see a big spike up and down, that gives them the right, due to the verbiage in their contract, to hold your money if they want. So they almost handcuff you over there. So we've had the opportunity to take clients offshore. But we just refuse to, because we know that there are solutions that are domestic solutions that are coming down the pipeline. Here, it just takes time. Like, nobody expected what happened a few months ago to happen, for them to jump back out of the arena and leave everybody hanging. And
I couldn't believe that. When that happened, I was in line to get processing through you, and overnight I was shut down.
I think it's really important, and I think what Dan and Chris are doing at Magnify is huge, because they're becoming kind of the advocate on this side of the industry, because there are so many unsavory players. Before we started shooting this, you're talking to me about some offer. Sounds exactly like an international, U.S. bin, foreign pay fact type scenario. It's got all the markings of it, so do your research, and that's what I think the best message for the time being for folks in the CBD world is to do your research. Reach out to one of us and talk to one of us. If it exists, we'll have access to it. If it's a troublesome and possibly dangerous solution, don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions. I think that's what Chris and Dan have done so well and continue to do so well, is they're fighting to build a good solution that can go to market, that people can, not only the retailer, but their customer can feel good about putting their credit card number in the
right, and
in
that's
the system.
What it's all about, the security of it.
And so I guess, why don't we round this out, and when is this going to end, guys? What is the not only when do you think there might be some freeing up, but also on your guys' end, what do you have coming down the pipeline that could be a solution for somebody like me?
Yeah, so we talked about banks being conservative, and that being really a driver, but let's not kid ourselves, they're also profit driven, right?
Right.
CBD is a booming industry right now, and I'm sure we all agree it's still in its infancy.
Yes,
we've
barely
seen the tip of the iceberg here. So that opportunity is not going to sit out there uncapitalized on it.
Right.
So we're not in a position where we're making a promise on dates, but we have a very promising, rock solid domestic solution that is going to happen. It's just a matter of, we are comfortable saying it's when, not if.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So we're talking later this summer, somewhere along those lines.
Okay.
We're going to be live with it. It's exactly what this industry needs.
Backing from a big processor with a domestic bank, established bank. I think what a lot of there's more than one domestic processor out there that is getting ready to launch a solution. But I believe after seeing what happened a few months ago, everybody is pumping the brakes a minute, wants to make sure that they establish all the right protocols so we don't have what happened again.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, they're going. There's not going to be reverse underwriting. Everybody's going to be fully underwritten and vetted. They're going to have minimum sale rates that, you know, the ISOs and agents out there have to abide by. You know, they're going to just need to get more control over the industry, because, like I said, it was like the Wild Wild West. It was crazy what, you know, some of these people, startup businesses, paying rates that are insane.
Right.
Really low.
Yeah, exactly.
And it, you know, and then when you do reverse underwriting, that's what they got into the problem where the biggest problem was there was, you know, people signing up and then the machines were going into dispensaries. I mean, that's what.
Oh my gosh.
That's what really blew it up.
That is
Make the press
crazy.
release, but that's exactly what happened.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
I mean,
Wow.
people were greedy. They saw what was happening. They saw there was no structure to the
Right.
plan, and they got after it.
That's just, wow, that's unbelievable. Well, at least that's comforting to hear that there could be some relief coming down the line. Because right now, guys, I can't even begin to tell you how frustrating it is every day to get on my site, see the people coming in, putting product in the cart,
Right.
and then bailing out the back of the site when they find out they have to pay with check.
Right.
So, and again, here's a person, right? I developed this business because CBD touched my life, right? I was a struggling addict for years. The only thing that got me away from my addiction to benzodiazepines and my other hard drugs was the CBD. And it has changed my life. And I want this site to be an educational site where I can help people.
Right.
And it's I hope that that's coming down the line. You know, we're all advocates here for the CBD business. I mean, we want this industry to take off. So, you know, I appreciate you guys coming in and sitting in on this video. I really do. And I look forward, hopefully, to working with you guys in the future and getting something going. And by all means, guys, check out Magnified Payments, Aurora, with Jordan for sure. These guys have been very helpful and continue to be very knowledgeable as well. So thanks for everybody tuning in, and go get some.